degree in the information technology from the IIITM Gwalior in 2010 and PhD in computer science from Ulster University, UK in 2018. He has been awarded the Distinguished Alumnus Award by ABV IIITM Gwalior for excellence in the field of academia in 2025 and the Excellence in Research Fellowship Award from IIT Gandhinagar 2023-25. He has been the recipient of the Best Knowledge Transfer Partnership Award by the University of Essex in 2022 and Exceptional Talent Promise Potential Leader in HCI CHI Award by the Royal Academy of Engineering in 2021. From 2021 to 2023, he was an AI software development engineer and a senior AI software development engineer at the University of Essex, UK, where he worked on an Innovate UK UKRI funded project in collaboration with Mercia Homes Limited. From 2018 to 2021, he was a postdoctoral research officer in the FIT lab at Swansea University, UK, where he worked on an EPSRC funded project in collaboration with Google, DST Innovation Limited, and IIT Bombay. Prior to this, he was a postdoctoral research assistant at Ulster University, UK, and a visiting research fellow at IIT Kanpur. His research is dedicated to creating AI systems that are intelligent and efficient, but also transparent and understandable to users. Human AI interactions should be intuitive and beneficial, fostering trust and collaboration between humans and AI systems. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining the session. It's not a late, sir. So just you start as per your convenience. So it's not a big issue, sir. So just you take your time and as per your
Okay.
convenience, can just wind up the session. So thank
Okay.
you very much, sir. Now I hand over the session to you, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Surender. And thank you very much for the nice introduction. And thank you very much for putting all things together to having me here. So today, basically, yesterday only I checked like the topic which you asked me to deliver. I was thinking like it would be the research seminar on the perspective of the research in the AI/ML. But now, according to the participants, I have prepared the lecture for this TSNE algorithm, and I think which would be interesting for the participants to see the two aspects. One aspect could be foundational of the algorithms and methods, and other aspects I will cover. I would say I will cover the practical things also in this. Okay. So let me share my screen first. Let me know whether you can see screen and it is properly visible to everyone. Then I think I can start. Let me just share screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
So just one more thing. It's visible just one screen, or let me put it in this way. So
We
actually,
can see in
I
a
have
full screen mode.
yeah, actually I have a code slide also which I wanted to show, which I think so. Now it's visible.
Yes, sir. Visible. Perfectly fine, sir.
Okay. Okay. So for, I think I cannot move. I don't know why. It's hang. Now slide changing is visible.
It is changing, sir.
So it's in the just one mode, or it's in the presenter mode, you can see.
No, sir, full mode, presenter mode, sir.
But two screens are you seeing, or only one screen?
One screen, sir. T distributed stochastic neighbor embedding.
Okay, okay. So okay, let me start then. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think all of you had a wonderful session during this FDP program already. So participants, I think I will start with a couple of the things. So I think you already know the Gaussian distributions, correct? And normal distribution, which was covered in the earlier session, correct? Can anybody tell me? Hello? Any participants? Okay. So, okay, thank you. So I think I would recommend you to ask the question and be interactive, okay, during the session. So in Gaussian distribution, when we use the Gaussian distribution, I think you already know when we have a known value, okay, known sample size. So let's say if the sample size is greater than 30, then we can use. But why not if the sample size is small? How we can short that? So therefore, we use the T distribution. I will explain the foundation of that. So let's take it. Okay, so in Gaussian distribution, we usually calculate the probability density function. If you remember this, how many of you know this probability density function? So in probability density functions, we can calculate the Gaussian curve where we do have a standard deviation, variation, and exponential function, correct? So, and here this is x, f of x is with a random variable, correct? But in other way, if we have a t distribution, then we calculate t distributions, one second, which is the random variable like t score, and where we use the one concept which is called the degree of freedom. Okay, so degree of freedom is calculated based on the gamma function. So here you can see this is the gamma v1 plus 1 by 2. So gamma function. And what gamma function will do, I think we need to understand that. It generalize the factorial function to the real or complex number, correct? That is the, I think, the main idea behind both of these. So once we have that, then why I'm saying, because sample size is less, then how we can identify if we have thousands of the number of points or 1,000 points of the data, then how we can see where this data is belong and how we can differentiate the two part of the data. Let's say maybe the clustering problem, then how we can do that. So in the T distribution, can be useful for such kind of the problem. And as I say, it's defined degree of the freedom. So it means degree of the freedom is n minus 1. So wherever we can say as df, degree of freedom increase, T distribution approach the normal. So how we can go from lower T distribution to the normal T distribution. So like in this figure, you can see here we do have a probability density function, correct, which we have calculated, and we have a standard deviation, which is the sigma. And if I'm increasing the distribution, which is like degree of freedom from 0 to, let's say, 50, then you can see when the degree of freedom will be 50, like will 30, then it looks like a Gaussian distributions. So then with a small set of the number of the samples, it would be perform very good. So I think this was covered previously also, but you can see what is the difference between both of them in the t distribution, because like if you can understood the t distribution, then getting the idea behind the uh, t stochastic neighborhood algorithms would be very easy for you to understand. Okay, is this clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? Okay, let me move then. I think you already, okay, great, Amkar. So I think already you have gone through with the PCA, which is a principal component analysis, and you had look on that. So first we need to understand what is the PCA. So I'm not going to go into the depth, but I'm just giving the fundamental behind that, and then we'll move on. So basically, in PCA, the primary motivation behind the PCA, how we can find the excess that capture the variance in the data, correct? So let's say if we do have a, let's say if we have a this plane, so we have a XY, and let's put it in this. So this is the one function, we can say f1, this is the another function, or the excess f2, sorry. So, and if we have a sum of the points are here, let's put the points like this. Okay, in this plane, if we have a sum of the points are here and some of the points on this axis. Can you see all the points? I'm just making to give you the flavor to understand the concept. Okay, so this is the plane. So we have a 4 different clusters, if you can see easily here. So now it can transport the correlated variable into the smaller number of the uncorrelated variable. So what I meant by that, how we can define the principal components in that. So let's say if I can do this, so this is the like I want to make a PCA, and then this one is the one component. So you can say, correct. So in this case, you can see this is the our global variables are here, and we can capture and we can see distance of this, and basically always we can calculate the Euclidean distance between these points when we do. I will show the some principle later. But now in this you need to understand if these points are not considered. So it means these are the local points which are left behind when we are doing the PCA. So then we need to understand how this will be considered in terms of the local points, okay, or local so then let me just come to, so maybe I need to erase all. Okay, so you can see here same things which I was trying to explain to you, but in this you can see if the data are symmetrical around the principal axis, then the PCA does not converge variation well. And so in one, you can see these are the data points. And here what we are doing, we put the PCA1. So these are the like lines, two lines which dotted lines, and we are calculate principal component. This is the Euclidean distance between the each points, which is the green in both, like if you are putting like in this way. So if the data point is not standardized, that is the mean of the value of the point is not 0 or standard deviation not the one, then PCA display bias towards to the dimension of the few features which I was explaining you earlier. So in the figure which if some data points, if you are doing this one, then it's easily we can detect. But if we are doing y-axis to x-axis, then we cannot detect. So therefore, we use the some other methods. I will come to that, but before that, just understand this. So here, let's say in this figure, so what I just wanted to try to explain to you. So we has a PCA in this original plot, and where it was like you can see 4-dimension data was there, and then 4-dimension to 3-dimension we put, and this is just one example, but I will consider some example in the code which we'll go through. So how you can reduce the dimension 4 to the 1, and this is the one iris data set, and that figure I just considered. But in this one, you can easily understand in this figure, the purple line are distincts used for the calculating the SSS score. So here and here in the 3 and 4th, you can see that. So so this is the concept of the how PCA work. But PCA cannot solve the problem when we have this local preservance of the data points. So before going to that, first understand the what I was trying to say. So some things are summarized here. So PCA try to find the global structure. So it means low dimension subsets and can lead to the local inconsistency. Okay. So far away point can become nearest neighbor. And whereas if I'm considering the TSNE, then TSNE try to preserve the local structure. So in the example which I was explaining to you, so we can consider the points which were outlier in the PCA by doing the TSNE. Okay, so low dimension subspace. So low dimension neighborhood should be the same as the original neighbors. So unlike PCA, almost only used for the visualization, not easy way to embed the new points. Okay, so I think this is clear to everyone. And as you know, like TSNE is a also for the dimension reduction algorithms, and which is the unsupervised machine learning algorithms. Okay, and I think you already know why this is the unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So let us try to understand the fundamental of both through the data sets. So I can just show you now you understood the principle. So when I was talking about the PCA, so this is the I think some of you already know, those who are working in the area of the image processing systems. So this is the MNIST dataset, and MNIST is dataset is modified National Institute of Standard and Technology database, and which has a large database of handwriting digits that is commonly used for training the various image processing systems. Okay, so let's say if I was doing the PCA, so it means like I took all the 70,000 samples and first reduced the 50 dimension with the PCA, and then we can apply the some other algorithm. But let's try to understand this. So when I did this, now you can see it's very difficult for some of the cases, like let's say the class 4, which is the green, which is the overlap between the class 7, correct? So it's not easy to differentiate that. So there, but in this here, when I put the TSNE for 2-dimensional embedding on this same data set, so then you can see easily the different classes, different clusters of the different class, correct? So then this approach preserve the most of the data variance and make the TSNE more efficient and effective, correct? And what we do, this need to be understand, and whenever you apply such kind of the algorithms, so always in TCNA we do the first reduce the 50 dimension with PCA, then we apply the TSNE for visualization. And why this? Because we already know for the global structure, PCA is good, but for the local preservance, PCA is not good. Therefore, first you can do and then you can apply that. Correct? This is clear to everyone for just for the fundamental. Then now we'll go depth on the try to understand the TCA concept, TSNE concept. Is this clear to everyone? Okay, shall I move? Okay, okay, thanks. Okay, so now before the stochastic neighbor embedding, like TSNE, first let's understand just basic concept of the SNE and what is the drawback or what is the shortcomings of the SNE, which can be overcome by the TSNE algorithms in terms of the fundamental. So let us see. So stochastic neighbor embedding, basically we encode high dimension neighborhood information as a distribution. Okay, so we need to just see the distributions for that, and random walk between the data points which has the high probability to jump to the close data points, and therefore we do the this dimension reductions. And SNE can find the low dimension points such as their neighbor distributed in the similar way. But how do you measure the distance between the distributions, which is the very interesting, because as I was showing you in the figure of the PCA, we measure the distance based on the SS scores. Then how do you measure that? So the how many of you are aware about the Euclidean distance? Let's say if I will ask you to make the one pointers where I can get the my XY coordinates, okay, where I'm looking at it right now. So right now I'm looking at it particular screen, and then I already know the what is the coordinate of that particular points, and if it match, then the distribution can happen, something like that. So Euclidean distance is means minimum distance between that points, the concept which we use in this. Okay, and most common measure is a scale divergence, which is the Kullback-Leibler divergence between the two joint distributions. So I will cover that in terms of the equation and fundamental things. So joint distribution, it means, let's say if we have a 2 points which could be the P and Q, then what would be the joint distribution between them? So we'll see that things. But now another things here, in stochastic neighbor embedding, there is a one major problem which is known as a crowding problem in the machine learning. So crowding problem, in the high dimension we have more rooms, points can have the lots of different neighbors. Okay, but in 2D points can have a few neighbors at a distance one all for each other. So because what I'm saying high dimension, it means if you can give the in 2D, then we can see the only the few points. So how we can solve that problem? Correct. So which is very difficult in terms of the solving that problem. So let's say if you have a this deep neural networks, so how do you know like which layer is working for what? So if you have a lots of images which you can combine together, then it's very crowded. So how we can make a distribution between that to understand? But TSNE, which is the TSNE, give the solution to solve this in terms of the change the Gaussian. So the curve which I was explaining to you. So the change the Gaussian in Q to heavy tail distribution. If Q change slower, then we have a more wiggle room to place the points. So because now you should understand, if Q change slower, so it means because the TSNE, basically we use where n equal to less than this 30, correct? So then you have a more room to place the points. Okay, is this clear? Okay, let me give you the little background now for the TSNE. So in TSNE, I think first, once we load the data, what we do? Okay, so once you have your data set, then we need to understand how we can identify neighborhood distribution, and then how we can calculate the probability. Or probability of what? So probability of, like, between the, after processing, we can calculate the probability of the 2 points, or maybe you can say if you are having the row I of X, then you need to calculate first the standard deviation, and then you can calculate the probability, conditional probability of J given I. So let me go one by one. Okay, so let's say if we can consider the neighborhood around an input data points, so which is X is element of the D dimension in the real vector, correct? So X is the element of the D dimension in real vectors, and then imagine that we have a Gaussian distribution center around the Xi. So the Xi, which, because we are taking Xi and Xj to distance, okay? So then the probability that Xi choose some other data point, Xj, as its neighbor in the proportion of the density under the Gaussian curve. Okay, this is clear? So, and then if a point closer to the Xi will be more likely than the other points, which is understood. Okay, so closer points will come to that. So for that, now how we can process that? So we need to define the probability, conditional probability of when the J given I. So probability of J given I, which here you can see PJI, or so distance of these points we are calculating. And this distance I was explaining, this distance is the Euclidean distance. So let me put in this way. So we have here, after the pre-processing, TSNE calculate the distance, which is the D of X, J, Xi, and Xj, correct? This is distance between the pair of the point. And which is, what are the pair of the point? Which is the Xi and Xj. These are the two pair of the points, okay? And these are the two pair of the point in X. So we are just considering these two pair of the points in X only, correct? Let me put in this way. So you can choose various distance metrics using the distance name or value pair you can take. But in TSNE algorithm, by default, we use the, as I was explaining, we use the standard Euclidean matrix, correct? And then TSNE uses the square of the distance metric in subsequent calculation. Okay, so square of the distance matrix in subsequent calculation, so which is here. So once we have that, then for each row of Ix, we can calculate the standard deviation, correct? So standard deviation we'll get from here. So let me erase this from now. Okay. So once you can get that, then standard deviation sigma I, so that the, we also check the, but I'm not coming back this perplexity. But first, let's just calculate this. So we calculate this conditional probability. And after that, we need to identify the joint probability of Pij by summarizing the conditional probability. And why I'm saying the joint probability of this? Because the joint probability will be for both the cases which we are taking. And what is the n here, which is the number of the elements, number of the row of the x, you can say. So how many row we are considering, which is the number of the row of the x, which will take in the joint probability by this. And then now we need to calculate the perplexity. And what is the perplexity, which is in the simple meaning of perplexity, which can measure the effective number of the neighbor of the point I. So here point I, how much the number of the points which we want to calculate. So point I, and then TSNE perform binary search. So this is the binary search over the sigma I to achieve the fixed perplexity for each point I. And how it can be done? So this is the entropy, this is the Shannon theorem. So it means how many bits we are transferring to calculate that, correct? So, and in perplexity, there is a one interesting facts which you should remember. So P is inform over the K elements. So it means like perplexity is K. So like in a KNN, so we can say a smooth version of the K in the KNN. So what is the smooth version? So if you are making the cluster, which can be identify the different points in the one plane, then maybe there is some little separation. But if you are increasing that perplexity, how the separation can be shown and how you can measure that. So simply low perplexity, it means small sigma square, and high perplexity, it means a larger sigma square. I think this is clear to everyone. This is clear. If this concept is clear, then like I know the code you can see that, but also this fundamental, this concept should be clear to everyone. If not, please ask me any question. So, any question? Please tell me, is there any question? No question? Yes or no? You need to say something, or you may write in the chat. Okay, great, Akshay. Thank you. So, let me now, perplexity, we should understand then how we can see this. Let me erase this again and select the pointer. Okay. So you can see here the concept which I was trying to explain to you. So let's say we do have a original data in this, and if we are increasing the K in KNN, the class perplexity 2 to 100, then you can see from where we can see the separate distribution, correct? Easy distribution to understand. And so also in both the data set, you can see the how the perplexity will work. So you can see here, interestingly, and in most of the literature, you will find the perplexity, the best case for the perplexity always like 30 to 50, always we find, but in some of the cases, 100 to 300 also. So what I meant by that, here, if you see the perplexity 30, then distribution is like this. Here, if you can see distribution, so you can easily identify. So that is the meaning of the perplexity after putting the higher dimension data to low dimension data and visualize. So because like the TSNE, the methods which we are discussing today, which is the visualization method, correct? So perplexity matrix quantify how well the model predict the next word in the sequence. Okay. So let's say if this is the different kind of the words in the sequence, then perplexity will give how model is predicting. So let's take an example, like if you are typing on the WhatsApp or on any chat, then you can calculate the perplexity. So predict the next word in the sequence, correct? Yes, please ask the question. Yes, please. Hello. That's a good question. Why perplexity? Firoz asked one question. Why is perplexity considered the smooth version of the K in the KNN? Okay, that's a good question. Because we need to identify where the better separation can be seen in the data. So therefore, we need to go from the one level to another level. So it means better separation. And what I meant by that, where model predict very nice, like whale model predict for the next word, correct? Therefore we need that. Okay, so K value is very important in this. Is this clear now, Firoz? Firoz, is this clear to you? Okay, great, good question, thank you. Okay, let me, so that is why I have put here a smooth version of the K. So then low perplexity to the high perplexity all here based on the sigma square. So let's see now how we can initialize the embedding and divergence for the stochastic neighbor embedding, okay, like TSNE. So to initialize, and everything's all the points which I'm covering, I have only 13 slides, don't worry about that. I will share the code and we'll go one by one. So I have prepared the couple of the data sets with some examples. So yesterday, like I put the couple of hours to give you some things which would be helpful for you later, not just theoretical things. So but first we can understand the theoretical and then we'll move to that. So how we can initialize? So first, once data we have that, then now we need to initialize the embedding and diversity. So to embed the points in X into the low dimension space, TSNE perform an optimization, and then it attempt to minimize the KL divergence between the model Gaussian distribution. So so now how we calculate that, we need to understand that, and of the X and student T distribution of the Y in the low dimension space. So because earlier what we are discussing is a SNE, but SNE cannot have this Gaussian distribution of the X points and student T distribution of the Y points for the low dimension, and therefore we are using this. So the probability of model Qij of the distribution of the distance between the point Yi and Yj, you can calculate in like this. And so now here, what is the interesting things which you should understand? Here we do have 2 points. So one with the Gaussian distribution X, and other is we are calculating now student T distribution, which will give you the low dimension space. Okay. So but same things we are using here also, the concept Euclidean distance when we are calculating the distance. But here we are just calculating the distribution of the points in the low dimension space. So as using this, so now previously I have explained the joint probability of the Pij. So look, can you go back here in this example? So this is the joint probability of Pij. Okay. So joint probability of Pij will go here, and this is the interesting to remember. So using this definition, the model of distance x is given. So x already we have, correct? And then KL divergence between the joint probability of the P and Q. So P and Q, we can get the joint probability of the two points. And then once we have a joint probability of that, then we can see the how the point P and Q is differentiate from the actual space to the lattice space by putting the perplexity to see the smoothness and everything. We can check by using that. So in this also we do, so here we can calculate the KL divergence, but in the KL, apart from that KL divergence, we also have one interesting thing, gradient distance of the KL divergence. And why we do that? To further optimize this. So to minimize the KL divergence, by extract algorithm use the modified gradient distance procedure. So gradient descent procedure is the gradients with respect to the point in y of the divergence. So we can calculate the all the gradients with respect to the point y, where this is the normalized form of that gradient. So what it will do, as I was telling you, it will the modified gradient distance algorithms on top of the KL can also can use few fine-tuned parameter to attempt to reach the good local minimum. So once we have that, then our purpose will resolve. Our purpose will solve, and we can get the dimension reduction from the higher dimension to the lower dimension. Also, we have in some of the examples or some of the codes, you will see the one algorithms, which is the variant of TSNE, which is the Burns-Hurt variation of the TSNE. And what it does, it now, because now when we run, we need to see the complexity of the algorithms, that this is the purified algorithms, which is the optimized, like approximate optimized scheme. So in this, what it does, it is speed the TSN algorithm and cut down its memory and uses. And then this algorithm groups nearby points together to the lower complexity, and memory usage of the TSNE is optimized. And why I'm saying this, because when you run these algorithms, it depends on the data points, but when I was doing in yesterday night, so it takes like for one cluster to running, it takes 30 minutes to 40 minutes of getting the outputs or plotting in the data. Okay, therefore I have saved some of the data or data points already to run the programs. So then we can say this is an optimization optimizer, not an exact optimizer. So what I meant by that, so in Burns-Hurt, we can get the some approx optimization, but not exact. And not exact, it means it can predict, but due for the low memory and low computation, but not exact one. So, but it depends sometime if we want to see the exact optimizer or just a prediction. So in this, there is a non-negative tuning parameters. So I just put the parameters which might be helpful for you if you want to fine tune the model. So theta that affect the trade-off between the speed and accuracy, and large value of the theta give faster but less accurate optimization results. So then you need to fine tune when you are using such kind of the algorithms, like what is your motivation. You want faster computation or you want less accurate optimization results. The algorithm is relatively incentive to the theta values, and this is the typical range of the values we consider. And so in conclusion, so what this burn search will does, it groups nearby points in the low dimension space and perform approximation of the gradient descents based on this group. But in TSNE, no, there was no approximation. Okay, the idea originally used to have this astrophysics in that the gradient is similar for the nearby point, so the computation can be simplified, and therefore this updated version of the TSNE we use. Okay, any questions so far? So let me put the here. So in the diagram itself, you can see, so as I explained already, this is the TSNE is a great way to visualize the data, which we use for the visualization purpose. And it helps to understand the black box algorithms like DNN kind of, and reduce the crowding problems with the uh, heavily tailed distributions. Because why heavily tailed distribution? Because here we are using the Gaussian for the X and then T distribution for the Y. So we are using the both of them. And non-convex optimization solve the gradient distribution with momentum, and this is the less suitable for the SDG, stochastic gradient, but this is the very good alternative for the Burn-Search algorithm. So here in this figures, you can see how we are putting the data, and then if data can be in a more dimension to the less dimension and easily identify, then this can be better visualization of the data. Like you can make the different clusters to identify the different like features. Okay. Any question? So then I can move to the some of the hands-on session where we can the fundamental which I just taught, which we can recall again. Any question? This is just a any question? Do you have any question? And this is just my lab groups. So I just wanted to share with you if anybody want to connect and work. So we do have a good team in the lab, so you can come and work with us. Any question? Otherwise, I will move to the another part of the lecture. No question? Dr. Surender, can I move or do we need to have a break? Okay.
Sir,
Thanks.
if you want to continue, then it's up to you, sir. We
Okay.
don't have any. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I can continue. I don't mind. So then, Dr. Surender, actually, I just wanted to cover the some of the fundamental aspects which I have explained. So as you requested, I have prepared the some of the code things. So maybe it will be helpful for a student or the attendees.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet, sir.
No?
Yes, yes.
Now, okay.
Yes.
So let us try to understand some of the concept which I taught in little detail. So let's say everybody can see the, maybe I will put it here. So I have put the couple of the use cases, and then we can see the distributions or visualization of how the TSNE will work. Okay, so let's say how we can visualize the first thing, synthetic data. So I have took the two example. One is synthetic data, and which is the MNIST data, which I was explaining in the lecture slide. So first, what we do, so we data preparation. Okay, so here what I'm doing, generate a data set with the 6 features and 1500 samples. Okay, so that's a good question. Okay, so synthetic data, it means like computer generated data. Okay, so I can generate the some of the synthetic data based on the parameter which I'm giving. That is called the synthetic data. So it means like if I can say, like I want to create the database for this FDP, the like participants who attended, and then the experts people, those who gave the lectures, and like what and what are the different resources are used, and like this. So I do have a some of the entities. So based on the entities, I can generate the X number of the students in the row. I can generate the X number of the experts, and this is like that. So we can generate. Is that clear now? So here I'm saying synthetic data. Okay, great. So here I'm having the synthetic data, which is the 6 features, 1500 sample, and 3 classes using this classification. So how you can do that? You can generate this. So I'm not running all this because I already run, and I will otherwise like it will take some times. So, okay. But if you want, you can try this is on your system, or I can share the code later on with you to do the practice on this. So once we generate the data, now we need to visualize original data in the 3D plane, correct? So how to visualize? So there is a library which I'm using, plot library, and then I'm plotting the scatter plot, and then fig will show me the figure. So how it will look like? So show the hidden output. So I generate the synthetic data. Here you can see which is so 3 class. So because you can see here, I put the 3 class. So 3 class here, X, Y, Z, we have a 3 class. And then we can see the distribution of that in the 3D plane. So this is the 3D. So you can see this to how your data will look like in the 3D from the different kind of the different angles and different this. And you can make the different colors. So I'm just showing you. Okay. So because 3D can give you the better visualization metrics, correct? And you can see the all the data points. So now, once I have visualized this, then I need to apply the TSNE. Okay. So T distribution, stochastic neighbor embedding. So how this 3D can be visualized in the 2D? So then now here I'm just doing. So so 3 cluster, and we want to distinguish then with the PCA first, then we will compute the TSNE. So all the components will come here, and then we can see the how custom visualization of the classification database will look like. Okay, so look, so TSNE visualization, you can see here for classification data. So we have a this. Now you can see XY is here, probably this yellow and then blue. So you can see the distribution. Okay, after putting the TSNE, then you can see how TSNE will give you the in 3D to 2D dimensions to show the visualization for the data. Correct? So is this clear to everyone? Is this clear? Understandable? Okay, great, Akshay. Thank you. So now this is the just with the synthetic data. I just consider one. Let's take about the real data. Okay. So in real data, I have taken the use case. Let me just put this. Hide the all the output. So in use case 2, I'm considering the MNI MNIST data, which is for the character this handwriting data set, which I was explaining during the slide. Okay. So for that data, we can take, and then once we have that data, then we need to visualize. Okay. So here what I'm doing, I'm just taking the all the this is the, if I run this, then I know why I put this. Okay, if I run this, then this will probably give me the error. Stop it. Okay, so because yes, I know. Okay, so because this data subset is not defined in that, so let us hide this. So what I did, so now here I have defined the data subset for this MNIST data set which we are considering, and then what I'm doing, so I'm load digit data sets here, and once load a real data sets, so we will be having this XY, and then once we have the XY, then I'm doing the computational efficiency where I just wanted to select the 1000 samples for the X and labels corresponding to that. Okay. So, and then as I say, for first in the fundamentals, I was first we use the dimension reduction PCA to the 50 components, and then we do the TSNE to the PCA results. Okay, because the PCA, these results will not be significant. So we can see that, and then we do the TSNE, not the directly. If directly also you can do, but this will give the better results in terms of the better visualization. Okay, so this is the, like I would say, like fine-tune parameters, which is already explored by the researchers in this domain. Okay, so once you do that, apply TSNE to the PCA results, you will get the PCA results here. Okay, so we can plot that PCA results, and you will see the PCA results. And then after that, I'm not jumping to that. Okay. And then let me show this. Let us check that. Run select. Then we can compare. But it may take some time. Oh, sorry. So yeah, as I told you, it takes time because this has a 70,000 sample, and that is why I run and save that to show you, but let it be finished. Okay, so here let me do this for you to see. It's not showing. Somehow it's not printing this figure. Otherwise, I would like to compare that things. So that is why I'm trying to. But here you can see. Let me come here again. Show these results. So what I meant by that. So once we do that, then we need to see the visualized results from TSNE for 3D to 2 dimension. And then in the 2 dimension results, where you can see we do have a different labels, and TSNE visualize after PCA of the digit data sets, where you can easily identify. Okay, so this is the for the TSNE for the visualization. But let me show you the one of the interesting data sets also. Is this clear to everyone? Now you can do the TSNE with any kind of the data set. Is this clear? And why we are doing, which is clear? Please let me know. Okay, thank you, Amkar. Okay, so how many of you use the MATLAB? I just wanted to show you the some. How many of you use the MATLAB? Just write yes or no. Good. So I think some of the people they use the MATLAB. Great. So here I just wanted to show you the now this is the another data set, okay, where we need to look at the TSNE how it will work. So this is the human activity data set. So why I'm showing the MATLAB? I have code in itself in the Yeah, I have code in Colab also in the Python, but I just wanted to show you the some interesting facts with the data, which is very easy to see here also. Okay, so and actually this was the human activity data set which was available in the .NET file, and then I convert and I wrote the Python query to execute that also. And so human activity data set, which is for the what this data set do, I have written the information also. So human activity data set, which consists of the acceleration data collected from the smartphone during the various activities. Okay, so how we can see which activities belongs to what or something like that. So we need to get the data and then see the visualization whether data makes some sense or not, correct? So then, and this is the because it will create the non-linear kind of the transformation, and whose purpose is to, we already know, enable the grouping of the point with similar characteristics. If the x data is belongs to the 1 to 3 or some sort of the cluster which can be divisible by 2, then we can make, and likewise other one. Okay, so and in this data set we do have a, let me load the data first. So let me do. So you can see here. So let me see the description. So I have loaded the data here in the workspace. You can see the what we have, but let me show the description of dataset. So disks here. So I just put the command description. So this data set is 29 into 1 is string array, which is the human activity data set. Okay, which has the human activity data set contain the this much of the observation, like 20,000, 24,000, 24,075 observation of the 5 different physical human activities. And what the human activities which we are considering here, one is a sitting, standing, walking, running, and dancing. Okay, so this observation of 5 different physical activities, this much of the observation. Okay, so each observation has the 60 features extracted from the acceleration data measured by the smartphone accelerometer sensors. So let's say you have a smartwatch or your smartphone, so accelerometer sensors can detect these things, sitting, standing, walking, or running. If you want to use that, then the data can contain these following variables. Okay, so now I don't want to go in depth to the data, but once we have that data, then we create the response vector which contain the all the IDs of these 5. Okay, so in this data you can see also like this. Okay, so these kind of like human activity data set contain this, then this is the information which I was showing to you here, sorry, this ID. So as I was saying, 24,000 data points which we will be having for each ID. So we are putting here. So then you can see the yes, check. Yeah, so you can see it's not 111. Okay, so we will be having the 5 different IDs in this data set. So you can see, and then what we will do, so once we have that data set, we have a act names like 5 cells which I was saying. So in 5 cell is a one is meaning sitting, this and dancing. Okay, so then now how we can visualize this, let us come to that. So here first shuffle the data. So the data we can shuffle and activity map to better represent the random set of the data. Why we are shuffling? Because like all data will be shuffled together, then random. Because for we can use this function random sample. Okay, so we are doing n by n permutations, and here we can get the shuffle features, and in this we'll get the shuffle activity levels, and therefore the labels were shuffled, not like this. So once we will get, we need to map this data set. So, and then what I'm doing, I will show the all the images of this which I done in the Colab, because I already saved the parameters there. So otherwise it will take time if I'm running this. But here you can see we can create a sort of the all like different kind of the like TSNE. When I did 3D plots, you can say automatically if you can want to change the perplexity, which I was explaining. So you can change the perplexity to make the smoothing of that. Okay. And then high perplexity, low perplexity, what is the low or sigma square, which you can, and you can see the, and without doing that, what will be the normal TSNE visualization for the human activities. So you can see from here normal plot to the higher plot. Let me show you how you can see that representation. Okay. So here I think you already know we can how we should buy the code, how we can upload the data. So I just through the code I upload the data here, and then it will give you the this choose file where you can directly upload the file from your computer system wherever you have. You do not need to put anywhere the data. Okay, so I just had a mate file which was in my download folder. So I just choose that from the mate file, human activity mate file from here, and it will go to there. So once I have uploaded the data, then as I was explaining, we can extract the features. Okay, so we already have a samples, which is 60 samples, and here we have supplied the data. Okay, so once it's shuffled, then I need to map now activity label properly. So as I told you, there was a 5 labels. Okay, so these 5 labels need to be mapped with this act ID, and we are mapping all the labels with that, and we are considering that is the act ID is one best. And then once we have that, now I need to see the how we can find the like once preparing the color like the map which we wanted to plot. So you can put that, and then all the like representation can come in that, and we can easily visualize that. So here TSNE 2D. So let's say if you run, so default perplexity, which will consider the 30 when you run that. And as I told you, like the perplexity is 30 to 50 would be good. So once we have that, so what we are doing by this, we are reducing the dimension of data to 3 dimension to 2 dimension, and obtain 2-dimension analogs of data cluster using the TSNE, and we will save these relatively large data sets. Use the like Bunsen variant we are using in this as because I wanted to see this fast, otherwise it will take time, and therefore I just choose the for the better optimization. And these all the data points, if I'm considering this here, the methods which I'm considering Bunsen, so it is based on the approximation, not the exact. Okay, which we need to consider the trade-off, which I was explaining when I was explaining the fundamentals. Correct. So, and then here in TSNA2, we'll have perplexity this, and then we can plot that in the 2D 2D with the default perplexity. I'll show you the results, which I already run the program and putting here. So let me, oh, why? It should show. Oh, I think I need to wait a minute. I think I need to run and again I save the features, but I think somehow I click the button and it's go away. But now you can see so like as I was explaining, we can load the data. So here I'm considering it's taking directly you can upload the data. So data is uploaded. So now let me create the 2D with the 30 perplexity. Okay, so it will take time, but I have saved these graphs already here, which I will show you. So let's download this one. I already created. I know this problem may occur, so we'll save our time. Download this report. Yes, may take 10 minutes to compute because all the data it need to be taken. But I already have this here. So let's say, can you see my screen? So when I was plotting this, so with the perplexity 30 we can compare with the 100. So perplexity, it means like the distributions which we are making, then not easy to identify some of the data point. But here you can see the increasing the perplexity. Would that make sense? Yes or no? Both are in the 1D. So you can see some of the points are correlating, dancing and then overlapping with the running in this example. And then if you want to go in like 3D, so you can go to the more 3D view and you can separate that the data points in the 3D also for the better visualization. And what TNE plots will give me. Yes. if it will run here, it will give the better things. Yeah. So now this code is run. So before I will run this one also, and then I think our life will be make easier. It will run until, oh, sorry, this one. So still it's running. Okay. So then let me, so from these figures, you can see still some of the data points are not easily differentiate, correct, by putting that. But when I increase the perplexity, then it was easy to differentiate, correct. So this is the perplexity with 300. But 300 is not giving me, so I did like 30 to 300s, and I was trying to see if the visualization is better or not. So you can check that with that, and then let me, so default perplexity you will consider. There is a one problem will occur always. I think we can understand that. When TSNE create the cluster of the points based on the solely on their relative similarity, the cluster are not very well separated in this view, and therefore we increase the perplexity to make the cluster more separated. Okay, so perplexity will give you that kind of the notion when the cluster is more separated, and then you can see and then identify, and then you can say for this kind of the data set, maybe this is the perplexity value to make the cluster separately, which can be identified easily. Okay, so this is the perplexity concept, okay, for 2D. Now let me, without putting this, but this code will run because it takes time. I think 12 minutes it will take. So when we have that, then we can, how we can reduce the number of the dimension now. Okay, so reduce the number of dimension, because like we are getting the, yeah, look at here. So this figure is very nice to represent, because so here you can see, let me run this also simultaneously, increase the perplexity one, if it will print, tell that. So here I think now you can understand, because the metal figure was very cluttered, so that therefore I couldn't explain nicely. So here you can see the running, correct, and then dancing patterns were overlap, and it's very difficult to make the smooth cluster of that, correct. And this is with the by default perplexity, which I use 30, correct. In this, I think code, it was the 30. And if I increase the perplexity to 300, then this was very smooth for me to identify both the clusters separated, which I already check in this, but it's not showing me right now. Then the point is what the points which I'm trying to make, you can identify and see the visualization by using the perplexity, and how perplexity is compute. I already explained to you for the P and Q 2 points which we have. And then because now if you want to reduce the dimension, then 3D, in 3D also we can calculate the perplexity and compute the same things by using the Burnside also in the same way. So I think yeah, 2D to 3D also we can see. So both things we can compute and identify. So I think that's all from my side. If you are having any question, then I can open the floor for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we can wrap up. Any question? Any question, any fundamentals, any things related to the. Dr. Surender, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think if there is no question, then I hope the student or the participants they understood the some of the fundamental which I was trying to explain, and I think this will be helpful for them.
Thank you, sir. So I request to participants, please, if you have any doubt, any query regarding this session, because this is the second last session that we have covered almost 80 to 90% of machine learning basics topic. So if you have any doubt, any queries, then you please write in the chat box. So if you don't have any doubt, then we can wind up the session right now here. And we will resume the next session that at 3 o'clock. So 3 to 4, that will be my session hands-on. So that after this last one, this session, the 4:15, that we will be having a validatory session. So please join that also. So now, if you don't have any doubt, questions, then we can wind up the session right now here. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
for
Surender.
giving this insightful this lecture. Thank you.